Hey everybody, this is Matt from Matt's Fantasy Book Reviews, and today I'm going to be doing a tier ranking of every fantasy and sci-fi book that I have read over the past 2.5 years. I'm picking that arbitrary date of 2.5 years because that's when I got really back into fantasy. I've read a lot of fantasy books before that, but it was kind of hit and miss in terms of how often I was reading them, but 2.5 years ago I got really dedicated to it, so that's my cutoff date. But you're going to see some kind of notable titles here that I've left off of books that I have read, like A Song of Ice and Fire, but these are the ones that I've read in the past 2.5 years. I mean, you're going to see a lot of books here, so it's going to take a while, and let's just get right down to it. So starting on the top, we have American Gods, and this is going to be in the D category. I was not a fan of this book. I just hated the writing. Neil Gaiman just isn't for me. I've read a couple Neil Gaiman books, and yeah, I just hate the style. It wasn't for me. I quit the book out. I know a lot of people love it, and I get why. It just wasn't for me. So going to the Books of Babel books, and 𝐂𝐿𝐴 𝐶𝐿 was a wonderful book for me. I gave it an A. Thought it was a very promising, fun, refreshing story. All these kind of like mini stories within a story, which is a concept that I love, and couldn't wait to keep on reading. But I was wrong, because the next two books I put in the C category. And I almost didn't finish 𝐒𝐻𝐻𝐿 king. I did finish it, so I'm putting it in the C category. But it made me not want to even read the last book in the series, because the direction just went so far off for me. And it's disappointing, but the side characters got a way bigger prominence, and I wasn't a big fan of the side characters. The plot got pretty convoluted, and the scenery got really samey and boring, and those are the things that I loved about the first book, just got really ruined in the next books for me. So moving on to the next series, and we're going to go through the Black Company books, starting with the Black Company. And this is an S, a very easy S for me. I love the Black Company, the original book. I thought it's fantastic. I recommend it to everybody. It's got a very darker tone. It's about this mercenary company that works for a very evil person, but they're not necessarily evil. They're not good either. They just work for money. And it's got like a really fun magic in it, and I love, pretty much everything about this book. I love the way it's told in this kind of like Vietnam War, sort of like journalistic type of writing that I couldn't get enough of. So in Shadows Linger, which is the next book in the series, I gave it a B. I thought it was a noticeable step back. It wasn't all from the same person's point of view. It went to this other point of view for like a third of the book, if not more. And I didn't like that perspective. I thought the story was way more tight, and not in a good way. It was about a much smaller event. And I just, it made me kind of worried to continue reading, but I was wrong on that because The White Rose got a pretty easy S for me. This is the end of the original trilogy. I thought the ending of this story was extremely well done. Great battle scenes and a great wrap-up to not the overall story, but this kind of smaller story within the story, and it was very well done. So moving on to Shadow Games, I'm actually going to put that above The White Rose. I thought it was great. This is when the characters are starting to go to a new continent, a totally new stories being told. The Black Company is being, I don't want to ruin anything, but it's kind of a new beginning for the Black Company, and extremely well done. Dreams of Steel is the next one, and I'm putting this in the A category. I'm going to put it above 𝐂𝐿𝐴 𝐶𝐿. And I thought this was very well done. The story wasn't the most incredible story to me, but I really enjoyed this aspect that the point of view, and I won't ruin it for people that haven't read this yet, but the person who's writing the journal out, because it's all in first person, changes. And the total tone changes, the writing changes, and it was very, very well done. And I just love the writing style of Glenn Cook and the way that he's able to tell different stories from different point of views in very different ways. Then going over to The Silver Spike, and this is going to be a B. I was actually rather disappointed with The Silver Spike. I thought it was a decent story, kind of a side story that you don't really have to read. It does help with some of the other stories, so I would read it. And a lot of people love this the most. It's the most different from the other books, and it just didn't kind of hit right for me. In Bleak Seasons, we got another shift in tone. I'm going to say Bleak Seasons actually is probably up here, and a different person's writing it. totally different way of looking at things. I thought it was extremely well done. They brought a way different aspect to the magic system with this kind of like mind travel stuff that's very, very fun. So in She is the Darkness, this is probably my second favorite Black Company book up to this point. And the characters finally got to the destination that has been hinted at from the beginning of the series. A lot of mystery is starting to unfold, and it ends another major story arc that goes into the last one. And the last one starts off with Winter Sleeps, and I'm putting Winter Sleeps probably here. I thought it was good. We got a new person again taking over the writing, but it's probably my least favorite person. I think his name was Sleepy, which I think is where the Winter Sleeps comes from. And good story, but I didn't love the narrator of the story. And then Soldiers Live or Live, I think it's Live. It's going up there. It ended out extremely well. Capped up the story in a very, very good job. I loved it. It doesn't quite hit the high marks of the first book for me, but I thought it was a very good story. And then Port of Shadows is a train wreck. I didn't get very far in this book. I hated everything about the parts that I read. It was an incredible disappointment. But I will read another Glenn Cook book in this universe if it comes out, but I'm not super enthused about it. Shadow of the Gods, going up here. I love John Gwen. You're going to see a lot of John Gwen books in this. Shadow of the Gods was my favorite book of 2021 that got released, and Hunger of the Gods is probably my favorite book that got released in 2022. And I think I like Hunger more than Shadow, so I'm going like that. But yeah, this book is epic. It's so, so good. It's like a kind of like a Viking-ish take on fantasy with, obviously from the covers, these like huge epic beasts, wonderful different point of views, amazing writing, amazing action. And I urge you all to get on board with this series. It rocks. I think there's 2 more coming out. Then we're going to go over to the Broken Empire, I think it's called. In Prince of Thorns. And I thought, or Prince of Thorns is first. Prince of Thorns I thought was good, not amazing. Had a lot of faults with it, but I did like the story. I liked the last third of the book the most. And I if you're going to have a third of the book be the best, make it be the end. And it kind of rescued what otherwise was a lot of troubling aspects to the book for me in the way that it was told, in this kind of broken up way where you're talking about the same character at different time periods. It gets a little confusing, but it is not nearly as confusing as King of Thorns, which was a big problem for me. It got very convoluted. I disliked a lot of this book. I did finish it, so I'm putting it in the C category, but it made me not want to finish out the series with the Emperor of Thrones, and that's a disappointment because I love completing series, but I couldn't do it here. So Rage of Dragons by Evan Winter. I loved it. I'm probably going to put it somewhere in here. I'm going to just choose arbitrarily right there. Liked it a lot. It was pretty basic. It told a basic story with a lot of like the predictable aspects to it, but they all did it right. I liked the writing of Evan Winter. I liked the world building a lot. I like this zero to hero type of story. It doesn't, rewrite the genre, but it does a very good job for what it's trying to do. Fires of Vengeance, the next book that came out, I thought was good, not great. Probably going to put it right here. Borderline great. It's tough to rank these books too, because you're a lot of times you can't help but rank them in comparison to the other book. Which I think is part of the problem here for Evan Winter, because I like the first one so much that it's hard for me to say that the next one was as good, because it wasn't. So now we're going to move to a new series. We're going to Cradle. Cradle is a series that I love. Cradle is a top 10 series for me. Was previously a top 5 series, but you're going to see why at the end here. And Unsold I have in the A category, probably right there. I liked Unsold a lot. It is a basic book. I don't mind a book that doesn't totally redo fantasy. But the last part of this book was amazing. I probably would have had this book in the bottom of the B tier. but the ending just kind of blew my mind. It got me so hyped up for the rest of the series, and set things up in such a beautiful way. In this, you can see where the story's taking you in a very vivid way, and I love that. So Soul Smith, I'm going to put here on the top of the, I'd say right about there. Soul Smith just takes what the previous story did and kept building off of it. I like the direction. It really started investigating the world. Everything kind of still feels mysterious, but in a really fun way. And I like the direction of it. So Black Flame, I thought was even better. And this is probably going to be on the top of the A tier. This is when the world really unveils itself to you. And you're really understanding all the major players on this continent, not in the world, but the continent. And yeah, very well done, engaging story, loved it a lot. Skysworn was a little bit of a step down from Black Flame, better than Soulsmith though. Just continuing on that story, I don't want to ruin anything, so I'm not going to give specifics, but that cultivation continues to happen, and I liked so much of what happened there. Ghostwater, a book that a lot of people have is their favorite of the... you know what? I am messing these up a bit. These should be in the S tier. Yeah, I'm moving these up to the S. Yeah, Black Flame, Skysworn here, and I'm keeping Unsold in the A tier. That's what we're doing. So Ghostwater, a lot of people say this is their favorite of the books, or up there, but it's not for me. I'm putting this down below Unsold. I don't know, just this whole little pocket dimension that happens in this book was not super thrilling to me. It took out a lot of the grand nature of it. I did think the story was tighter, but yeah, I had a lot of problems with this book that I still liked it a lot. It's in the A, but yeah, I couldn't quite keep up with the others. Underlord was awesome. I love Underlord, probably right about here. Yeah, it just continues on. I mean, I don't know what to say here without spoiling things, but because these stories are just this kind of march up in power, and it's just happening, and it's getting kind of towards a rapid pace that I thought was very fun. So Uncrowned, I thought was incredible, and I've heard a lot of people say they don't like Uncrowned, but Uncrowned is probably my favorite up to that point. I love dueling storylines, dueling in the sense of people fighting each other in a organized setting. And that's what this book's all about. And I loved it. So Winter Steel, it took the plot of the previous one and just kind of dragged it on a little too long. I'm going to throw it kind of right in the, probably right behind Unsold. Just got a little samey for me, and I wished it got a little different. So in Bloodline is just epic. The monsters are getting big and bad, and I love what's going on here. So Bloodline, probably the best one of the bunch. Probably right up there. Reaper, so good, man. I love Reaper. Reaper's my favorite Cradle book. And the twist smacked me across the face. I probably should have seen it coming. I did not. Hopefully, if you read these books, you didn't get it either, because it's fun not to see twists. And Dread God, the most recent one, extremely hyped up book, and it was just a B. I had so many problems with this book. The ending was good, the rest of it wasn't. Really concerns me because there's only one book left, and if the last book is in this B category, that's a dang shame, because this book had everything going for it, and it just kind of fumbled towards the end for me. Color of Magic. Now we're moving over to Discworld. I've got a lot of Discworld books here, so bear with me. I'll try to fly through these so you don't spend forever on Discworld. And I like Discworld. I'm not in love with Discworld. I'm in love with some of the books that you'll see, but overall, it's a good, not great series to me. So Color of Magic is a B. It's good. At the time I gave it a B. If I was to read it again, I might go lower, because what gave it a B for me was that it was new and fresh and funny, and I hadn't seen a lot of those things in fantasy before. But to see all the other Discworld books that are so much better than it in so many ways, but at the time, when I read it, it was an easy B for me. So Light Fantastic is the next one in the series. A lot of the same as the Color of Magic, but better in pretty much every way. The writing just clearly started to get better, and I liked a lot of what it was trying to accomplish. Equal Rights was the first of the Witches books. It was okay, not that funny, probably the weakest up to that point. You're going to see, like, I'm pretty critical of the Witches books. I don't find them very funny, and I read Terry Pratchett books to laugh. And the Witches stories just don't really do it for me. So Mort is my first A book in this bunch. I'm going to throw Mort here, right about here. Mort's good. It brings the Death character in. I know Death's a big favorite for everybody. I do like Death. He's not, like, the best storyline for me. You're going to see that one come up soon, which is probably everybody else's favorites, which is the City Watch storyline. But it's a good story. It's not like the best Death book, but it's up there. Liked it. Sorcery. This is an A. Probably right there. I like Sorcery a lot. I forgot the name of the character, but this young, incredible wizard that they kind of have to go up against. It kind of takes over the university. Fun story. Got some laughs out of it. Not the best thing I've ever read, but a good book. The Weird Sisters, I want to say that's what it is. It's good. Not incredible. Liked it. It's kind of like a Macbeth Hamlet parody. A lot of Discworld books are parodies, and that's but it did a good job. So Pyramids, you're getting a B from me. Pyramids had some dull parts, had some really funny parts, but a lot of it was dull. And it was like an individual contained book that you can read on its own, but not my favorite. So Guards now. Guards. Man, this is a... Where is Guards going to go? This is a pretty top tier book. I'm going to put this as the best book yet. I love it. I laughed out loud. My wife thought there was something wrong with me when I was reading this book. But just so incredible writing. If you're going to pick up any Discworld book, pick up Guards, and get ready to laugh your butt off. Eric, weak stuff. It's a illustrated book. The illustrations are nice. That's the only nice thing about it. I thought the story was pretty weak. I think it's a parody off something I don't know, so maybe that hurt it for me. But just very dull. Moving Pictures. Another individual story. I'm throwing it in the A. Right about there. It's good. Don't know what else to say. Good book. Reaper Man. Reaper Man is going to be probably my favorite of the Death books. Probably up here. It's got this very funny book. Not like crazy laugh out loud, but good for me. I like this whole idea of like the character of Death, like going on vacation, and just like taking time off and going being like a regular guy is just like a really funny concept to me. And it did a lot of things well. Witches Abroad is the next book, and I'm throwing this like kind of towards the bottom of the B's. This is where the Witches stories just start to lose it for me. I thought the story was good, but it just didn't make me laugh at all. And the Witches are getting a little stale for me by this point. Small Gods. I think Small Gods is my favorite Discworld book, so it's got to be up there. Love this book. I changed my mind. If you're going to read a Discworld book, read Small Gods. You don't have to read anything else. You don't have to keep on reading. It's not part of any other storyline. Just a wonderful take on religion. Whether you are a religious person or not, I think you're going to get a lot of value out of this book and a ton of laughs. I think I bought this book for more people than any other book, because if you're a friend of mine and you haven't read it, I'm buying it for you for Christmas. Next is Lords and Ladies. This is the Witches stories. This is when they start really going downhill for me. Going at the bottom, man, the Witches, I just wish they stopped writing at that point. Men-at-Arms, gosh, it's funny. Not quite at the peak of Guards, but good stuff. Soul Music. This is another Death book. I'm just not a big music guy, so it suffered for me. It's okay. I like the characters, didn't like the story. The references are lost on me. I'm sure if you were a big music buff from like the 80s and before, you'd love it, but just wasn't for me. Interesting Times. This is one of my favorite Rincewind books. Not a huge Rincewind fan, but I liked it a lot. I'm going to put it pretty high up in the A category. Very good take on kind of like a Chinese culture, and very funny. Masquerade. No. I believe this is a take on what's that play? The Phantom of the Opera. And I'm not like a Phantom of the Opera guy, so did not work for me. Feet of Clay. Next, you're going high up there. Feet of Clay I thought was funnier than Man at Arms. Not quite of Guards quality, but man, Night's Watch is good. Hogfather. A lot of people's favorite Terry Pratchett book. I liked it. Probably in the A category. And an awesome Christmas parody. Yeah, loved it. Jingo. It's a B. It's good. Not incredible, but good. The Last Continent I found very funny. Going up here. The thing with Jingo, or the thing with Last Continent, is it's really like two big storylines happening at the same time. You have your Rincewind storyline, which I thought was like not great. But then you had the Wizards from the University storyline, and that was like top tier S stuff. And if the whole book was about those wizards, man, this would have been like one of the best Discworld books, but it got pulled down because of the Rincewind stuff. The Fifth Elephant is my first book from the Night's Watch that does not get an S. Just kind of an unmemorable story. Pretty funny, but not, nothing to write home about. Putting it right here. Carpe Jugulum. This was weak. The Witches stories, man, they're just not doing it for me at that point. They need to stop. The Truth, another individual story about the printing press. I found it very entertaining. Throwing it in the A's. Right about there. Thief of Time. Fun story. Going in the mix. Down here. Okay, so this Last Hero. This is a illustrated book. It's not long. The illustrations are so good, and the story is actually legitimately good. So I'm going into the middle of the A's for you. And moving on down, we have got Night Watch. Night Watch is like a bottom of the A's. I love the Night Watch, but I just didn't love this whole like back in time storyline. I thought it was just kind of a, they did it just to do it, and would have preferred a more modern one. The Amazing Maurice. This is like the kids' books, and they're not good to me. I'll probably read them to my kids. I bet they'll love them when they get to the right age, but just not a fan. And then the We Free Men, I'm putting in the same category. I'm not a big kids' books guy. It's not for me. Monstrous Regiment. This is so good. I'm really high on Monstrous Regiment. Another individual story, I believe. I think it's like its own thing. I can't ruin the twists, but the twists are so funny. Just love a lot of the aspects of this book. So Going Postal, we're almost to the end. And Going Postal I liked, wasn't in love with it, put it in the middle of the A's. And Thud, another Night's Watch book that I'm putting in the A's. I'm sad that the quality of the top tier Night's Watch books just kind of started to diminish for me at this point. But still liked it. And I'm still reading Discworld, but that's where I'm at this point. So moving over to the Dresden Files. And people are probably going to slaughter me for this because I'm not you'll see. So Stormfront, thought was horrible. D. This was hard to get through. I finished it. Probably should put it in the bottom of the C's because I finished it, but honorable mention for the D's because it just hated this book. But I kept on reading, and I'm glad I did at this point because I thought Full Moon was good. Putting it here. Got a lot of the same problems with writing style to me. A lot of character problems for me. I don't love Harry Dresden. But the story kept getting bigger and grander, and I liked the bad guy in it. So Grave Peril, similar story. Not similar story, but similar reasons for liking it. I thought the writing kept getting a little bit better. I didn't love the bad guy as much in this book as the previous, but I thought the writing kept improving. Summer Night. This is when everybody says the series starts taking off. It didn't for me. I'm still putting in the B's. Probably better than the other ones. But just never really grabbed me like it does for so many people. Death Mass. I don't know. These books are all really samey to me. And I'm not a big detective guy. I'm a big fantasy guy. And I kept giving these books a chance. And they never really took off for me. But I love the Wrigley Field stuff in this book. Those were really memorable storyline. But overall, the book was okay. Blood Rights. This is my favorite up to this point. Putting this in the A's, probably near the bottom. Thought it was good. I like the Mavra stuff. Thought she was an awesome boss. Good stuff. Deadbeat. Similar. it's good, not like insane good, but I love the ending. I thought the dinosaur things, and if you haven't read this, you're gonna be like, how's dinosaurs involved in this? You'll see, it's good. Proven guilty, it's good, but it's not like, it doesn't blow my mind. I like the overall story, but just nothing doing crazy stuff for me. White Knight was pretty unmemorable for me. I remember the story, but it just didn't like grab me like some of the other ones. Small Favor, I thought the Nicodemus stuff was really entertaining. I'm going to put it back in the A category. Then Turncoat. This is when I start kind of turning against the series. And this is when a lot of people like get upset with me, because they're like, when you're this far into the series, this is when people really start like falling in love. And this is when I started like getting soured on it. Not so much because like these books themselves were worse than the others. Putting down here in the B's, but it's just, it's not, the series wasn't improving for me, and I started to get soured towards it. And then Changes, which is like everybody's favorite book, I'm putting this in the C's. I don't know, it didn't grab me, and I gave up on the series at this point. And I think that's part of the reason I'm putting in the C's, is eventually I gave up. I said, this isn't for me, and I just got to move on to something else. Elantris, we're going to a random Brandon Sanderson book. These are somewhat in alphabetical order in kind of a weird way. And yeah, this book, bottom of the C's for me. God, this was boring. I couldn't believe Brandon Sanderson wrote this, because I love Brandon Sanderson. It's his first published book, so I get it. But yeah, not a good book for me. So let us go journey into Realm of the Elderlings, and you're going to see a lot of high scores here. So Assassin's Apprentice. I don't know where to put it. Somewhere up here. It's awesome. I love it. I love the character. I love Fitz. I love the writing. Robin Hobb's incredible. It just blows me away how good her characters are. The plots are never great to me. Never, ever are they great. In like the Farseer. But the writing's so beautiful to me. And the characters are like literally the best character writing in all fantasy. So you're going to get an S from me. Royal Assassin, I thought was better. And an awesome book. Just continuing on with awesomeness. Thought Assassin's Quest, however, got kind of boring. Love the writing, love the characters. Worst plot of the bunch. Putting you in the middle here. Which is unfortunate for the last book in a trilogy. Kind of soured me a little bit on the trilogy. But still, an S and an S and an A is a good trilogy. But the journey that these characters go on for a large portion of the book, it just gets boring. Not a lot happens. So, this is going to be real easy. So we're going to move Ship of Magic, which is one of my favorite trilogies of all time. I love you, Ship of Magic. You're going up here. And I'll talk about these after I place them. You're going to get better, The Mad Ship. I liked you more. You're going to go right here. And Ship of Destiny, you're my favorite of the bunch. You're going to go to the top of this list for now. Live Ship Traders blew my mind. It's one of the few trilogies I've ever given pure top grades for. I love everything about it. I'm a sucker for a pirate story. I'm a sucker for fantasy. I'm a sucker for great writing. This had everything in spades. I'm in love with this series. I can't understand some people that don't like this, but in general, I find that most people think this is the best of the trilogies in Realm of the Elderlings, and for very, very, very good reasons. So going over to Fool's Errand, which is the next book, and this is a new trilogy, back to the Fitz and the Fool from the original trilogy. Had the break for the Live Ship Traders, moving over to this one, and it's awesome. Going in the S, not as high as some of the others, but I'm moving you up pretty high. Where am I going to put you? Probably right behind Assassin's Apprentice. But really good. Slow. Very slow. But gets you back in the characters. They're way aged. I like that a lot. Golden Fool I thought was not as good. The plot just kind of all of a sudden it hit a crescendo at the end out of the blue. And problems with it, but still loved it. And then this ended out so hot. I love Fool's Fate. Fool's Fate's probably going up here, right about there. Loved it a lot. Good trilogy. Dragon Keeper. Okay, so Dragon Keeper's the worst of the Realm of the Elderlings book to this point. Putting you probably down here. Yeah, probably down here. More on this in a second. Dragon Haven. Oh, man. You were a bad book. Top of the D's for you. It's rough, man. Like, if you thought that what was the book that I said got a little long? Assassin's Quest was a long journey. Dragon Haven is way longer. It's all the same thing. I could have, I really do think that you could have read a Wikipedia page on this book and you would have saved time and just moved on to the next one and done yourself a big favor. But City of Dragons was great. Loved it. Pretty top tier A category for me. It really hit the right marks for me and got the story moving in the right direction. And then Blood of Dragons was awesome. You get an S score for me, probably up here. And just a great book. So, to the Fitz and the Fool trilogy. And I am going to say that Fool's Assassin is awesome. And you're going up here. Oh, man, this is hard. I'm going to put you right here. I love this book. It sets things up so nicely. Brings in a new character. Brings in a new point of view for the first time ever in the Farseer. Just a beautifully written book. Tragic, but good. Fool's Quest, I thought, was another S book. I'm trying to figure out where I put it in relation to the others. Not as good, some of the others, but awesome. And I just can't wait to read the final book in the Realm of the Elderlings, which I haven't read yet. It's actually the next book I'm going to read. I just got it from the library. I can't wait to pick it up. Okay. Moving over to The Expanse. First sci-fi series on this list. And I'm just not a huge sci-fi guy, so bear with me here. I'm putting this in the A category. I thought it was really good. Didn't grab me like some other people did. Got a little convoluted and didn't just grip me like some of the others. Caliban's War I thought was not as good as Leviathan Wakes. And I thought that Abaddon's Gate was like a average B book. And I had to give up the series because it just wasn't moving in the right direction for me. And I wasn't, when I read what people said about these books, they praised them so much that I knew that it wasn't for me at that point. All right, we've got a lot to go. Let's keep on moving. Let's keep on going. So now we have The Faithful and the Fallen. And this is going to be real easy. So Malice is a top tier S. Valor is a better S. Ruin is a better S. And Wrath is awesome. Not quite Ship of Destiny, I don't think. Oh, this is tough. Boom, 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 boom. Let's go here. Okay, Faithful and the Fallen is one of my all-time favorite series. I gave all 4 of those books 5 out of 5s. Just absolutely adore John Gwynne. I cannot get over how an author can write their first book and their first series and have them be at the quality that these books are. You have this kind of a Song of Ice and Fire epic grandeur to it. You have this amazing prophecy story going along, incredible POVs, incredible characters, incredible character growth, incredible battles. Nothing failed in these books for me. Pick them up. Do yourself a favor. So moving on to the next series, which is also John Gwynne. It's set in the same universe, set in the same place, but like 150 years later. And it's hard to do that. And it's hard to do it well. But John Gwynne did a very good job. I thought the first book missed the mark a little bit because it was a little slow, but good. But the next 2 I thought were very good S books. They never hit the peaks of those other books for me, though. So I'm going to throw this one right here. And then I'm going to throw the last book, which I thought was even better. And I'm going to put it right behind Malice. You know what? I'm not. I'm going to put it above Malice. Because the ending is just so epic and fun. You know, didn't quite grab me like the other books did, but extremely well done. So what do we got next? We have the 5th season, and this is a garbage pile for me. Where to put it? Right here. It's so bad. It's so bad. I mean, I get... If you like this book, kudos to you. I'm happy for you if you like this book. I hated it. I hated everything about this book. I couldn't even finish it, and I could already tell you what happens at the end because it was so predictable. The writing style is so pretentious. The story is so bland. The characters are so uninspiring and just not real, and I just hate them. So get out of my face, book. The Blade itself. So we're going into the Abercrombie books now. The First Law. The Blade itself I thought was very gripping, very good. Probably an extremely top tier A, not quite to the S, but very good setting the stage. Now you got Before They Are Hanged. This is an S for me. I thought this was awesome. I've read better books, but I loved it. Now, The Last Argument of Kings is one of my favorite books of all time. And I'm going to struggle here with where to put this. I'm going to put it right here. Gosh, this ending's so good. And a lot of people don't like it because it's not this fairy tale ending. And I love it. It surprised me. Shocked me. The writing's incredible. The battles are so good. Everything about this book is fantastic. Pick it up. Then we're going to move over to Best Served Cold. And Best Served Cold is... There's 3 books that are individuals after this, before you move on to the final trilogy. And I thought they were all A's. And I'm going to rank them like this. I'm going to put Best Served Cold in the middle. I'm going to put the heroes a little bit behind it. And I'm going to put Red Country above them both. And let me talk about them. So Best Served Cold. You got this awesome revenge story, but it's so predictable on what's going to happen. And, you know, I've read nice revenge stories before. This is a very good revenge story, but didn't reinvent anything for me and lost that epic grandeur of some of the others. The Heroes is all about a single battle that takes place, I think, over 3 days. I've never read a fantasy book that was all about a single battle. I've read plenty of historical books, read plenty of historical fiction and nonfiction that do this, but in a fantasy book, it's awesome. And then to Red Country. They reintroduced a character that I won't say anymore. You know what I'm talking about if you read this book. A character that I love from the other books. It's a Western. I like Western books. Don't love them. But a fun story nonetheless. Okay, now this is going to be a little bit harder for me on where I'm going to place these, but I'm going to do the similar thing that I've done before, and I think a lot of people disagree with this, but I'm doing it anyways. But A Little Hatred is clearly going in the S for me. Top tier book. Then I'm going The Trouble with Peace. Better. And then I'm going with The Wisdom of Crowns. Best. Not as good as Last Argument of Kings, but it's up there. Just loved it. One of my favorite trilogies of all time. One of the few that I've ever given full top scores to. I've heard from countless people that they don't like this series as much as the original First Law series, and I don't get that. I don't understand that at all. Because I'm in love with it, and I wish you were too. So check it out. Goblin Emperor. This is not good. Better than a 5th season. These are all bad. Hard for me to rank these bad ones. Harder for me to rank these bottom D tier books for me than it is the S tiers. But just boring. Just so boring. And I wanted to like it so much. I love political books. I work on a political job. So to see a book that's all about politics, I love politics and fantasy books. But just very boring take on it. And like, the fantasy elements are horrible. The characters are horrible. The writing's horrible. I hate everything about it. So that's my take. Name of the Wind. Like most people, this is a top tier book for me. Going up here. Loved it a lot. Didn't rewrite the genre or anything, but I thought the writing is mind-blowingly amazing. And I will give you top scores for that, Patrick Rothfuss. The Wise Man's Fear, I'm going pretty top tier on the A category. Not as good. still very good. Weird stuff with the Fae. Very long, almost too long, but good. All right, what do we got here? On Lavender Tides by Travis Riddle. A not well-known book. It's like a Pokemon-inspired book. Throwing you in the middle of the A's. Very good take. I've never read a Pokemon-style book before, but it's very fun. Got that Cradle vibe where characters keep getting more powerful and more powerful. Just a fun, light read that I encourage everybody to check out. Legends and Lattes is in that same realm where it's just fun, just casual fun. Go in the middle of the A's. If you're looking for a light-hearted, feel-good book that you can just drink coffee to in the morning, just have a great time reading it, that is the book for you. Now let's go to, what do we got next? The Lives of Locke Lamora. One of my favorite books. Where do you go? You go here. Love it. Love everything about it. Love the writing. Love the story. Love the author. It's so good. The twists are so good. Got to move you up a little bit, actually. Just love it. Unfortunately, it all goes downhill from there. You got Red Seas Under Red Skies. Let's go right there. Pirate-style book. But the plot starts getting a little convoluted. It all kind of just wraps up in the end. The writing quality dipped. Republic of Thieves, same thing. It all dipped. The story is not as good. It's not tight. It all just wraps up at the end. Things happen. It's like a lot of just like fun and games. It loses that grand like thief aspect that the other books had, and I had a lot of problems with it. And I'm really hoping that the books improve from there because the first book is so top tier for me. So we're going to go over to the Lightbringer books now, and we are moving through this. Probably about halfway done. The Black Prism is very good. Thought it was an awesome start to a series. Probably right in the middle here. Like the writing style a lot. Love the world building. Magic system's good. Characters are decent at that point. Think they get better as they go along. The Blinding Knife really brought it all together. I think this is the best book of the bunch. Probably in the midst, like down here somewhere. Yeah, like right about here. And yeah, just super good book. Loved it. The Broken Eye, it starts going downhill. This is a problem. And the plot just got weird. Very convoluted. And it's such a big jump down from The Blinding Knife. The Blood Mirror is like, what are you doing? What are you doing, Brent Weeks? The biggest jump the shark moment in like any book I've ever read. Let's go here. Yeah, right there. And just destroyed the book for me. The direction some of these characters went are so bad. In The Burning White, a book that people very universally have on the C or D category, is an A. I thought it was a nice, not incredible, but nice ending to the series. And I would make me continue to recommend that book to other people. What do we got next? We've got The Fellowship of the Ring. And this is where people are going to start getting a little pissed off at me. Because I'm putting all these books somewhere in the A's. Thought that was good. I thought Two Towers was better. And I thought that Return of the King was the worst. Return of the King, I thought, had some of the best moments, but some of the biggest slogs also. I respect these books for what they are. I thought that none of the books on this list would be what they are today if it was not for these three books. But as I read them today, they have lost a lot of what made them magical back when they were written. So many books have taken what they've done and done better. And the only things that are not better is this rich history and the depth that went into making languages, that went into, the intense amount of history that is not in the books, but is in like the appendix of the books. And that's just not my favorite part of these books. I like glanced at the appendix. I didn't like obsess with them like other people. But that's the best thing they do. And so many other books took these and it just did better. And we are now to some incredible books. Malazan, my favorite series. And you're going to see a lot of books in here written by 2 different authors that both contribute towards the series. We're starting with Gardens of the Moon. Gardens of the Moon is an A. If I read it again today, it would be an S. I'm quite confident because I just was confused from start to finish. These concepts are going down that I thought were interesting and very good, but were sailing over my head. And now that I've read the series, I would get them all, or a large majority of them, and I would probably appreciate them for what they are. Now we're going to give a lot of S scores. So Deadhouse Gates, you rock. Deadhouse Gates, you're going up here. Love this story. Love this story. The ending of this book is one of the only books that made me legitimately cry like a baby. And just the huge range of emotion and the writing quality and this bravery of the author to just jump continents in the second book and only have one character that's the same between the first 2 books is awesome, and I appreciate it. Memories of Ice is one of my favorite books of all time, and many people's favorite Malazan book. It's not mine, though. You got House of Chains, which is another incredible book. Probably right in the middle of these 2. You've got Midnight Tides, another top-tier incredible book that went to a new continent with all new characters, and I appreciate it. And you rock, and you're going up here. And then we're going to do The Bone Hunters, which is just a shade under Memories of Ice. And then we've got Reaper's Gale, which I think is probably right above Midnight Tides. And then we've got Toll the Hounds. And this is hard for me because 80% of this book is an A. The last 20% is right here. The best part of any book I've ever read is in this book. So to balance these out, I'm going to put it right here. Dust of Dreams is an A. I thought it failed in a lot of regards. It still had the same mystique and fun of a Malazan book, but it was originally supposed to be part of a much larger book that was 2,000 pages, and the publisher split it into 2, so this book didn't have the ending that it was supposed to have, and that hurt it. And then the Crippled God is moving to the top slot, and it's going to stay here for the rest of this video. It's the greatest book of all time, in my opinion. And I hope that another book someday I will read that I like it more, but I am pretty confident that I never will. Just the greatest piece of writing that I think has ever happened. And I think that everybody that likes epic fantasy should continue on with the series, read through Memories of Ice, so read the first 3 books, and if you don't like it, give up. If you do like it, you're in for an absolute treat. Knight of Knives. Now, this book is written by Ian C. 𝐒𝐻𝐿. He's a very good friend, if not best friend, of Steven Erikson, and they contribute towards writing different books in this universe. Knight of Knives was not amazing. It's a B tier. It's very clearly 𝐒𝐿 trying to find his footing, and he failed in a lot of regards. Return of the Crimson Guard, however, is a very high S tier for me. I think I like it even more than Deadhouse Gates, just by a hair. It is incredible. It might be my favorite 𝐒𝐿 book, and I love everything about it. Stonewielder was good, and I'm going to put you up here in the A's. Had that epic scale. Not quite as good as, I'm going to put it actually above Dust of Dreams. Not quite as good as some of the other books, but better than others, and still a top tier book. Orb, Scepter, Throne goes back to the S tier. Thought this was awesome. Brought in a ton of characters from the Erickson books. And I'm going to put you right below Deadhouse Gates. Then a problem happens. This book, Blood and Bone, was hard for me to read. You're going in the middle of the seas. I thought it was a slog. I thought the story was weak. Just a lot of problems with this book. A Sale brought it back, though. A Sale's going to the A's, right in the middle of the A's. Very fun read to a continent that I have been itching to read about. And then he did this other series that's 3 books in, Path to Ascendancy, that this is Estimon books that are extremely well done. I'm putting them both pretty high up in the A tiers. They investigate the origins of 2 of the main characters of the books, and Kellanved and Dancer, and they're just great. And then Kellanved's Reach got even better. You know what? So I put Kellanved's Reach here, and I think that actually I'm going to say that Deadhouse Landing, as I'm thinking about it now, is probably going towards near the bottom of the S's. I did like it a lot. Okay, so now we're going back to Erickson. Erickson wrote these books, and they were like many thousands of years before the main books that he wrote, and cover a very pivotal moment in history. And I thought it was a good, not like the other books that he read, probably the worst of the other books that he wrote, but fun. And then Fall of Light happened. And Fall of Light, and it pains me to do this, is right here. It's just, it's like philosophy, and that's all it is to me. The plot was just all over the place. I couldn't even finish it. And it's making me not want to read the last book in the series. Just really, really troubling book for me to get through. So then he wrote these books. They're short stories. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. Tales of Botchet Lane and Corbel Brooch. They're horror comedy books. And the first book is weak. It just never gets going anywhere. Didn't really make me laugh. And I was like, should I keep reading it? Heck yeah, I should, because the next one's an S. The next one is so funny. I don't know that I've ever read a book as funny as this. It's funnier than any Pratchett book. And it's a horror book. The plot's not as good as some of the Pratchett books. But, gosh, it's funny. It's short, but it's funny. The Worms of Blearmouth, I think, is even better. It's like right here. It's so good for a short little book. And then the Crackpot Trail was a D. I couldn't even finish it. I know, like, it's crazy for me to give some books like S and then immediately follow up with a D. I've done that multiple times now. But it had just a different tone. It's like stories within stories, and like a troupe that's just every night they're telling stories and they're getting murdered. And it's by the people that they have to tell stories to like stay alive. It's just convoluted and a mess, in my opinion. And then The Healthy Dead is an A. Not as good as some of the other ones, but very good. Very good. And then Fiends of Nightmaria is probably in the middle of the A's. Good. The God is Not Willing. Let's see. God is Not Willing is an A for me, right in the middle. This is a book that kind of takes place after the main Malazan books, and didn't quite hit the highs of some of them, but still good. Let's see what's next. Mistborn. Okay. We've got a lot to go. Let's keep on pumping through. So, The Final Empire. I was in love with this book when I read it. It's going to be a mid-tier S for me. Just love. It's kind of basic. Got some YA aspects to it, but loved it a lot. The Well of Ascension I thought was a step down. Had a middle book syndrome. Pretty bad middle book syndrome. But The Hero of Ages is one of my favorite books. Where to put you? Here. Love it. Great ending. Super surprised me. Should have seen it coming, but I didn't. And then you're moving to Era 2. And Era 2, I don't love. I mean, so Owl of Law is a C. Shadows of Self is a B. Bands of Mourning is a little better. But yeah, they're trying to be funnier than they are. They're trying to be Pratchett. They're not. They're trying to be a Western. They're not. They're short. They're trying to be epic, and they're not. The twists are good, but not a lot else. Mother of Learning. The first arc, I think, is good. I've only read the first arc. I'm going to read the second arc soon. Doesn't like blow my mind, but it's a really good book. Putting you right there. And then Murderbot. So let's talk about Murderbot. Murderbot is a very good series in the beginning. So I really like this book. It's a fun book about this robot who is takes out his governor module so he can think for himself. And it's a fun little unique story that I thought was good. I thought the next book, Artificial Condition, was even better. Brought in some really fun side characters. And I really liked it. I thought the series was going in a really fun direction. Then Rogue Protocol was just like the same book. And because of that, you're getting the B score. I need some innovation in my books, and I just didn't have it. Exit Strategy was the weakest. Going down here. Just more of the same. Network Effect was a full-length novel, and I gave that an A. Put that in the middle. Thought the full-length novel really allowed it to get some different aspects to it. A lot of people say that it's their least favorite, but for me, it's pretty high up there. Then Fugitive Telemetry, I couldn't even finish because it's just more of the same, but not as good. So, a problem. Poppy War. So, Poppy War, I've only read 2 of them. I'm reading the 3rd one right now. And the first one is an A. Bottom tier A. Good. Dragon Republic is a C. I dislike so much about the Dragon Republic because it's just a history book. It's the Chinese Civil War, but with these fantasy names for people and like made up names for things. But it's just a historical event written like it's some new thing. And I know the historical event, so it was boring because I already know what's going to happen. And I know the characters, and I don't like the characters. So, big problem for me. So now let's go to the Powder Mage. We've got 6 Powder Mage books written by Brian McClellan. I think this is a wonderful series, very underappreciated. Promise of Blood, I thought was a great start. Had a lot of First Law vibes for me in the way that it's written. Thought it was a very good promise. The next books I thought were even better. So the Crimson Campaign was a bottom tier S. And then the Autumn Republic was a very good ending. Like a mid-tier S. Fun books. Think you should give them a shot. However, he wrote this follow-up series. Sins of Empire is the first one. That was a bottom A. Wrath of Empire I thought was worse. Even lower A. And I thought Blood of Empire was weak. And it's a C. Just the tone changed. Don't like the characters as much. Kind of turned into a detective story, and I'm not a big detective story kind of guy, as you can see in some of these books. Just didn't work for me. Red Rising. Okay, so Red Rising is a challenging one for me because I'm not like in love with sci-fi. But I thought that the first book was good. I'll give it a B. It had a lot of Hunger Games vibes to it. Didn't love Hunger Games when I read it when I was younger. But darker and more sci-fi. the writing style is just kind of jarring to me. The next two books I thought were better, progressively better. So I thought Golden Sun was an A, and I thought Morning Star was a pretty top tier A. I liked the way the series ended. Thought it was very good. Probably done here, and just a wonderful, really engaging ending to the story. But then I got to this one, Iron Gold. It's a new trilogy. I just wish it didn't get written. The story didn't need to keep going. And a lot of people say this is where the series really takes off. And this is why I gave up the series. Because if this one was weak, and this is where everybody says it gets really good, that's not really a promising sign for me. So let's move over into a ton of Riyria books. And I'm going to kind of fly through these, because they're kind of samey. But I do like them. So the Crown Conspiracy started off really fun, putting you near the bottom of the A's. I thought Adam Partha was even better. Let's go up here just a little bit. Nifron Rising, I thought was a little bit lackluster. I'm going to put you in the B's. Emerald Storm got back to that fun, but not quite to the peaks. So I'm putting you down here. Was that an A? Yeah. Sorry, these things are getting so huge. I thought Winter Tide was the best of the bunch to that point. So I'm putting you in the middle of the A's. Very action-packed, very fun. And Persepliquis, if that's how you say it, is a pretty top-tier A book. Great ending, very fun. Now, the next series is a series of books that are prequel books. And they're not as good overall for me. I'm putting The Crown Tower in a B. Putting Rose in the Thorn. It's the best of these books. I'm going to put it near the bottom of the A's. The Death of Dulgoth, I thought was, like, whatever. It's okay. And then Winter's Daughter, I thought, was pretty weak in the B's. They're fun. You know, I like the main characters, but the stories are just so dull to me. Then we moved over to these super prequels. These are the Age of books. I forget the name of the series. But what are they called? Whatever. But Age of Myth just rocked me. I thought it was so good. I thought it was like a good S book. And then it just progressively got worse. So Age of Swords, I thought was A. Fun, but not blowing my mind. I thought Age of War was a B. It just got convoluted and weird. I thought that Age of Legend was a C. I thought Age of Death was even worse. And Age of Empire, it got a little better. Got back to the B's, but not anything to write home about. Just not a big fan of this series. And I don't know that I would recommend it to anybody. And Nolan is a bottom tier C book for me. I thought it was weak and boring. It's like a bridging the gap between those super prequels and modern times. Just didn't need to be written. Okay, we're getting close here. So The Way of Kings is one of the best first books in a series I've ever read. And The Way of Kings is going to be up here. I love the Stormlight Chronicle. And then we're going to go Words of Radiance. And I thought Words of Radiance was even better just by a little bit. Going right here. Then we're going to go to Edge Dancer, which I didn't think needed to be written. It's just like a little side story about a character I don't care about. Actually, you're going down here. Just boring. And then Oathbringer, I thought was an A. I don't like Oathbringer as much as those other books. It's a pretty top tier A. The ending's amazing. But yeah, it doesn't quite hit those marks for me. Then we got Dawn Shard, which I thought was another one of those little short books, but better than Edge Dancer. So I'm putting you there. Then Rhythm of War didn't quite hit the peaks of those other two, but very good. I'm putting you up here. So love Stormlight. Love, love, love Stormlight, and I recommend it to everybody. What do we got next? 3 Parts Dead. I just read this and I gave up on it. I'm already forgetting what it's about, and I just finished it like a week ago. The Bone Ships. This is part of the Tidechild trilogy. I've only read the first one. I'm definitely going to keep reading it. I finished this book a few weeks ago, and I'm going to put you right in the middle of the S's. Absolutely delightful, like a seafaring magic book. Tigana, I did not finish. I hated the story. I thought the prose was wonderful, but the story was just very weak, and I could not finish it. The Umbral Storm by 𝐂𝐡𝐚𝐧𝐧𝐞𝐥. Not a very well-known book, but it's a good S for me. Good progression fantasy. Very fun. Love pretty much everything about this book, and I really can't wait to keep on reading it because it's exciting, and I really can't wait. Empire of the Vampire I read just recently by Jay Kristoff. Thought it was awesome. Just awesome. Towards the tail end of the S's. I'm not a big vampire fan, which hurts for me, but it's a fun book. Wandering In, I'm reading through this series now. I just finished... This book's huge. So the series is like the longest series of all time. The first book was like 1,000 pages. The second book, which I'm reading right now, is like 1,700 pages. I'm almost done with it. The Wandering In is a good S-tier book. I really don't have a lot of faults with it. It's just fun. Not like the most tightly written book. I suspect that the writing's going to get better because the second book's better than the first. But yeah, fun. Warbreaker. Brandon Sanderson book. A lot of people say this should be your intro to Sanderson. Not for me, though. Mid-tier B. It's okay. Forgetting Moon. So, Brian Lee Durfee's books. These are not well known. They should be. Forgetting Moon is epic and fantastic, and you're going up towards the top of the list. And The Blackest Heart is one of the best books I've ever read. Blackest Heart is going to be right up here, even above Stormlight. I'm obsessed with these books. Read them. They're dark. They're epic. They're everything I'd ever want in a book. And then we're going to close out this series with Wheel of Time. And I'm kind of losing my voice, so I'm going to kind of fly through these. There's a lot of them. So, Eye of the World. Didn't do anything fresh. Putting you in the A's. The Great Hunt was better. Kind of forgot where that other one dropped. But it's a pretty good A-tier book. The Dragon Reborn, I thought, was the beginning of things really setting off. And I think The Dragon Reborn is a mid-tier S book. The Shadow Rising is continuing that trend of them getting better and better. And I'm going to place this somewhere about right here. I think that The Fires of Heaven is one of my favorite of the bunch. And I'm just going to throw a bunch... I don't know how to rank these, but I'm going to throw them right in the middle of the S's. I'm going to put Crown of Swords... Crown of Swords I'm going to put in the A's. Much slower pace, but still a good book. I'm going to put Path of Daggers, which is apparently the beginning of the slog. I didn't feel the slog. I thought this book was awesome. You're going in the S's. Winter's Heart, the slog is starting to become evident to me. You're in the middle of the A's. Much slower book, but some fun points. Everybody's least favorite Wheel of Time book, The Crossroads of Twilight, I'm putting in the B's. New Spring, this is where I read it, so I'm putting it here. I just felt like it didn't need to be written. I'm putting you in the C's. Knife of Dreams, the last of the Robert Jordan books, is a return to greatness. I'm putting you in the S's. Brandon Sanderson's 3 books, I thought progressively got better. I'm putting The Gathering Storm right here in the middle. I am putting Towers of Midnight here a little bit higher. And I'm going to put A Memory of Light as the highest right about here. So those are my books. Let us slowly go down this list so you can see. Ton of S's, ton of A's, less B's, less C's, and less D's. I like fantasy books. What can I say? So thank you for bearing with me. It's probably been over an hour at this point. And thank you so much for watching, and happy reading to you.